Barber surgeons. The same guy trimming your hair will happily rip out a molar by candlelight with an iron hook and zero anesthesia. If it's infected, congratulations. You now have a fever that might kill you. No antibiotics means a bad tooth. Can turn into sepsis and end you before harvest. Even breath is lethal. Halitosis is universal. Courtship isn't about your smile anyway. It's about your land and your livestock. Your mouth is a battlefield, and it's losing. Now that your teeth are throbbing and your skin is crawling, time to get to work. And by work, I mean slowly destroying your body for someone else's benefit. If you're like 90% of the population, you're a peasant. You work the land that belongs to a lord who probably doesn't know you exist. Your shift starts when the sun rises and ends when it disappears, 6 days a week. Sunday off, unless you're harvesting, repelling raiders, or praying your infected toe doesn't go black. Your tools, a wooden hoe, a rusty sickle, and whatever bones are still in one piece. Fields are plowed by hand unless you're rich enough for an ox. You dig, plant, weed, and haul water until your spine curves into a permanent question mark. There's no too tired, no mental health day, and no complaining, because nobody cares. And if you're a woman, surprise, you do all of that plus raising children, cooking, cleaning, spinning wool, and somehow surviving without snapping in half. Fed animals while pretending your husband's lice weren't staging a nighttime invasion of your pillow. Children, they're part of the workforce by age 5. No school, no toys, just a tiny wooden rake and the dream of surviving flu season. And if you're not a farmer, maybe you're a blacksmith, a tanner, or a cooper. Congratulations. You still spend your days in smoke, stench, or animal guts inside an airless shed. The pay, survival, the perks, occasional bleeding, break a bone, too bad. Fever? Drink warm beer and keep going. A day off means starvation, and starvation means you're easily replaced. So you grip your shovel, ignore the blisters, and dig. Because in the Middle Ages, your job was just a slow-motion endurance test. Now your back's on fire from the fields, so let's talk about the weather. Winter means no insulation, no central heating, just wooden walls with gaps wide enough to toss a chicken through. Windows, cloth, not glass. Fires, nice in theory, but you can't afford enough wood, and gathering it from the wrong forest can get you executed. You sleep in a damp wool tunic huddled near dying embers and still wake with your nose frozen. Feet are ice blocks, fingers stiff as medieval popsicles, and frostbite is just bad luck. Summer doesn't save you. Your home turns into a clay oven. No fan, no breeze, and certainly no deodorant. You sweat through your layers but can't strip down. Too scandalous, plus you'll get sunburn, bug bites, and gossip. Flies swarm your unwashed body and last week's goat stew. Mosquitoes whine in your ear all night while neighbors argue and babies wail. The fields, no shade, no sunblock. Just a straw hat if you're desperate. Heat stroke is taking a bad turn. No matter the season, your clothes itch, your food's awful, and your next chore's waiting. Climate control, medieval style, there is none. And water? Forget it. That picturesque stream? Upstream someone dumped a chamber pot or a dead pig. Every sip is a parasite party. Beer's safer, so everyone drinks it, kids included. Weak in alcohol, strong in survival. Wine's an option if you're rich and okay with tipsy mornings. Bathing? In theory, yes. In practice, no. People believed it opened your pores to disease. The cleaner choice? Apparently, never wash at all. The Middle Ages, getting clean wasn't just a chore. It was practically an Olympic event. Yes, communal bathhouses did exist, but they quickly gained reputations as hotbeds for gossip, scandal, and the occasional extracurricular activity. Naturally, the church decided this was unacceptable and shut many of them down. If you still want a bath, brace yourself. First, haul water from the well, then boil it over a fire. Pour it into a leaky wooden tub and Pray that no one else in your household used it before you. Or worse, after you. Rainwater? Sure, if you don't mind a touch of bird droppings, mosquito larvae, and a sprinkling of moss. In short, whether it was going into your mouth, over your body, or onto your crops, water was less of a life source and more of a game of Russian roulette. One wrong sip, and you'd spend your last days sweating in a straw bed, clutching your stomach, and reflecting on every bad decision you ever made. So next time you sip clean tap water, raise a glass to our ancestors, because they never had. The luxury of hydration without hazard, and if the water didn't get you, something else would. Maybe you stubbed your toe on a rock shaped like disappointment. Either way, you're sick. Time to see a doctor. Too bad you live in the Middle Ages, where medicine was basically polite torture with a theology degree. First, the diagnosis. Whatever you had, a cough, a rash, a broken bone, or the creeping plague, it all came down to your humors being out of balance. According to medieval science, your body was like a soup made of 4 ingredients: blood, phlegm, yellow, bile, and black bile. Feeling feverish? Clearly too much blood. The cure? Bloodletting. Draining your life into a bowl via a dull blade or a hungry leech. Feeling sad or anxious? Too much black bile. Solution: laxatives. Maybe some herbal purge, maybe just prayers while your family quietly starts carving your coffin. Break a bone or get a deep wound? Now you're in real trouble. Anesthesia didn't exist unless you count passing out from the pain. Surgery was performed with knives that hadn't been cleaned since the Crusades, and tools were heated over fire. Not to sterilize, but to make them look more intimidating. No antibiotics, no germ theory. People thought illness came from bad air or because God was displeased with your morals. Stomach ache? Must be sinful thoughts. Hope you like confessing while vomiting. If things got worse, expect more leeches, crushed beetles, and a priest ready to administer last rites. If by some miracle you survived, everyone assumed God had taken pity on you. The doctor took the credit, and the leech got a promotion. After surviving a day of back-breaking labor, lice, and questionable medical care, it was finally time to eat. Bad news. Your meal was probably plotting to kill you. Food preservation? Not a thing. No fridges, no freezers, just salt, smoke, or cold air if you were lucky. Meat, if you had any, might have been hanging for days, buzzing with flies, marinating in questionable brine, and maybe partially nibbled by rats. Bread was the medieval staple, but during bad harvests, peasants stretched it with bark, sawdust, or even clay. And if it was rye season, you might get a bonus: ergot, a fungus that could cause convulsions, hallucinations, and death. Think of it as bread laced with LSD and tetanus. Vegetables, only if they were in season. And turnips were, always in season, boiled, mashed, or floating in pottage. A medieval stew that was basically a warm bowl of resignation. It's a swampy stew of mystery ingredients bubbling away since your great-grandfather's funeral. Fruit might appear in autumn, but it rots fast. Sugar? Forget it. Rare, expensive, and hoarded by the wealthy as a status symbol, flashing their blackened teeth like trophies. Dairy is a gamble. Fresh milk turns sour in hours. Butter and cheese last longer, but they're bacterial landmines. People eat them anyway, because the only alternative is gnawing on boot leather. Seasoning? For peasants, that's mostly onions, maybe salt, and the ever-present taste of suffering. Real spices like pepper or cinnamon cost more than gold. Most meals taste like wet burlap with a dash of regret. Food is more than a health hazard. It's political. Game animals belong to the Lord, not you. Poach a rabbit, and you could be fined, jailed, or swinging from a rope. In the Middle Ages, dinner could literally kill you or get you executed. So you eat your gray stew by flickering firelight, knowing each bite is a gamble. In this world, food doesn't just nourish, it tests you. Evening falls. You've survived. Labor, lice, and whatever your stew was. You think it's time to rest? Wrong. God is watching. So is the priest. So is your neighbor Agnes, who will gleefully rat you out for missing Mass. Religion isn't part of life. It is life. The church controls your calendar, your laws, your marriage, your death. It's your spiritual landlord, and you're always behind on rent. Prayer bells dictate the day. Skip one. Sin. Eat meat on Friday. Sin. Have an impure dream. Double sin. Hell is vividly real, described in loving detail by priests, rivers of fire, boiling blood, demons with pitchforks. And since the Bible is in Latin, you depend on the church to tell you why your crops failed. Spoiler, it's because you didn't pray enough. Tithes are mandatory, 1/10 of all you have, wheat, eggs, even your last chicken. No goods, you're both spiritually and financially bankrupt. Holy days give you breaks from labor, but they're for fasting, confessing, and remembering joy is suspicious. Question the church, and you risk the pyre, the river, or the whip. And if you think being a peasant is bad, try it as a woman. Same filth, famine, and fear, plus childbirth, subservience, and near-total invisibility. Your path is set at birth. Marry young, bear children, serve your husband, die tired. Education, only if you're a noble in a convent. Marriage comes early, sometimes 12, with a baby by 14. Love isn't a factor. Property is. Once wed, you're legally your husband's possession, expected to produce heirs, feed the family, keep house, and stay quiet. Too outspoken, and you risk being labeled a witch. No vaccines, no antibiotics, no germ theory.